Welcome to Trick or Truth, the show where we dive into marketing horror stories so twisted they'll leave you guessing, wait, did this really happen? We asked our users to submit their wildest career moments, and we chose our favorites. Half of the stories you'll hear in this series are true, and half of them are fiendish fiction. So what do you think? Is this story true, or is it a trick? Story number 1, the live event that almost killed me. Every January, when the rest of the world is still shaking off their holiday hangovers, we are already deep in the trenches of one of our biggest programs of the year, the NRF Big Show. And let me tell you, it's not just big, it's scary. Scary because it happens right after the holidays when nobody wants to work. Scary because working with unions means you never quite know if your booth setup would actually happen in time. And of course, scary because you know you're at the mercy of a dead zone Wi-Fi. But this year, I had it all under control, planning 6 months earlier. Booth design locked. Dimensions, a trusty 10 by 30. But then came the call. 3 days before move-in, my phone rang. The booth was on a truck driving up from Texas, but a winter storm in Tennessee had other plans. There'd been an accident. The truck was totaled, and the booth totaled. For a type A planner like me, this is the kind of horror story that you can't prepare for. I had contingencies upon contingencies, but never had I dreamed my booth would be destroyed in transit. I froze in my office. My coworker said the color drained from my face. How could I tell my boss? And what was I going to put up in that cavernous 10 by 30 space? But like a Halloween plot twist, the monster under the bed isn't always so scary after all. My vendor had already leapt into action. The booth was insured. They were reprinting everything, flying it up the next day at no extra cost. Yes, there'd be a delay by a few hours, but compared to an empty floor space, this was nothing short of a miracle. In the end, the NRF Big Show delivered its usual chills and thrills. But this time, the scariest story of all had a happy ending. Eek, that sounds like my worst nightmare. So what do you think? Is this story truth or is it a trick? If you thought this story was the truth, you'd be correct. Which makes this even scarier because I know that one day it could happen to me. I feel like that is what half of marketing is just putting out fires, and kudos to this person for being able to do that. Today's story, ad spend disaster. This one's short, but extra spooky. We had a client that wanted to run a paid LinkedIn campaign with a total budget of $6,000. The campaign went live on a long weekend, and when we came back, our team uncovered that instead of a total budget of $6,000, they did a daily budget of $6,000. We had to ask the client to cover it, and now have to throw them an entire internal event for free. Oof, expensive mistake. I feel like that is literally the type of story that I have in my nightmares sometimes, and sounds awfully similar to the time where I was working on an affiliate program and things were not tracking correctly and we overpaid people by tens of thousands of dollars. I'll come clean, true story. And no, I didn't get fired, so we can get through anything. Anyway, back to this story. What do you think? Is this story a truth or is it a trick? Well, if you said this story was a trick, you'd be wrong. It is actually a truth. Eesh. Like I said, I've had something similar happen where I was sort of the one at fault. And let me just tell you, that was about the worst day of my entire career. To whoever this happened to, I'm so sorry. And I'm sorry that you're probably still traumatized enough to submit it to our video campaign. Story number 3. The Rickroll that risked my job. I once worked on a huge product launch. Full funnel, omni-channel, the whole 9 yards. My big idea was to plaster a QR code all over the place. Billboards, bus stops, even bathroom mirrors at a conference center. One code to rule them all. Launch day hits and traffic spikes. People are scanning like crazy. I'm pumped until I notice something odd. Instead of going to the landing page, our QR code was directing people to a YouTube video. And not our brand channel, not even a competitor. It was Rick Astley. Never gonna give you up. Turns out when I had sent the QR code for printing, I had 2 versions saved in my downloads. One for the actual campaign, and one our designer made as a joke to see if the generation worked. And guess which one I sent to print? Way too many thousands of dollars later, every ad in town was taking people to Rick Astley. And the worst or best part, my CMO convinced the board that it was intentional. He told them it was a bold guerrilla marketing stunt, and they loved it, said it made us look edgy. Meanwhile, I was in the corner sweating bullets, hoping no one could trace it back to me and that I would get fired. Ultimately, the CMO did figure out what happened, and he had my back. But this is a word of advice. Always check your QR codes before you print them. Eesh! Oh my god. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, but you almost let yourself down. Honestly, I'm surprised your company didn't turn around and desert you. So what do you guys think? Is this a truth or is it a trick? If you said this story was a trick, you'd be correct. I could definitely see this happening for sure, but what I can't see happening is the board being happy with it and you keeping your job. Story number 4. the product failure to end them all. I was leading campaigns for a new streaming service, and our big day was finally here. We were broadcasting the NFL Super Bowl as our big launch. We'd spent months hyping it up, billboards, social campaigns, email. Our whole pitch promised something different. Flawless 4K from many angles that you can switch through at any time to make sure you're getting every view of the Super Bowl and never miss a moment. It was the type of promise that made people excited and us terrified. And the kickoff comes. Hundreds of thousands of people log in for the first time. And immediately, disaster. The servers collapse instantly. Error screens everywhere. Most people saw nothing, but the lucky few got a slideshow that looked like a flip book from the 90s. People are tagging us, saying they're missing out on the most important cultural event of the year. Advertisers coming at us, asking where their ad spend really went. And all I could think of was, we didn't just lose the match, we lost our credibility. Refunds went out, subscribers churned immediately, and marketing had to try to clean up the mess. Lesson learned, no matter how good your ads are, if the product can't deliver, you've just built the world's loudest failure. You have to wonder how many of those stories like that are happening on a smaller scale with startups that never make it off the ground. People love to promise, but sometimes they just don't deliver. So what do you think? Is this story truth or is it a trick? If you said this story is truth, you'd be wrong. It is a trick. But honestly, I feel like this has happened to so many companies before, which I will not name out of fear of getting sued. But if you know, you know. All right, you guys, thank you so much for keeping up. This has been a super fun and spooky series to make. If you want to keep up more with the Startup Marketers content and also get on our platform, you can join for free. And in there, you can tell your own spooky stories of the craziest marketing horror stories you've ever had to an audience of people who get it. Startup marketers like you. Thanks so much for watching, and happy Halloween.